More than 150 military bases could be affected by the current round of stateside closures and realignments. Defense Secretary Les Aspin's recommendations are now in the hands of the Defense Base Closure and Realignments Commission. Navy journalist Annie Lewis explains how the guidelines that are helping the commission decide which bases should be cut.
Way to do it.
The 8-member independent panel is weighing the list of bases recommended for closure and realignment against criteria established by the Defense Department and against the military force structure.
We want to end up with a package of recommended domestic base closures that gets rid of the waste so there is a logical mesh between the force structure and the bases. We just don't want too many bases for the type of forces that we have. That squanders money.
8 selection criteria are grouped into 3 general areas, starting with military value.
Military value is a #1 criteria, and we always place the highest value on that particular one.
Military value considers a base's mission and effect on readiness, the availability and condition of its facilities, its adaptability to future uses, and the amount of money and number of people needed to run it. Another area that commissioners look at is return on investment.
How soon will it pay off to close a base? Because certainly the first year it'll probably cost more money than you save. But how many years will go by before taxpayers start realizing the savings?
The third area is local impact. Commissioners weigh the economic and environmental effects on the local community if a base is closed or realigned. The community's ability to support military people and missions is also considered. Comment from the public on the selection criteria is a very important part of this process. The Commission urges experts and concerned citizens to write, call, or testify at regional hearings. Navy journalist Dan Lewis, Washington.
7 Medcom plans to hire a civilian doctor to provide abortions to women living in military communities overseas. Major General Michael Scotti says the procedure should be available within a month at an undetermined location. But how many women request an abortion? Up to 45 a month now seek counseling. But General Scotti told AFN's Ann Mulligan he doesn't expect a big demand. Whether or not to have an abortion in a military clinic may be more of a fiscal than a moral decision.
This procedure will be charged at the same rate we would charge a non-beneficiary for outpatient surgery, so that the same cost that would be adjudicated to a Department of Defense school teacher, for example, if they went in for outpatient surgery to remove a lesion on the skin or something of that nature. And that's $477 for the procedure. The transportation is the responsibility of the patient.
How does the $477 compare with getting an abortion on the economy at a private clinic?
It's more expensive. Probably almost double what the average cost is here in Germany, and maybe several times that in the Netherlands.
Tomorrow, General Scotti talks about the controversy that arose over military doctors' refusal to perform abortions. The last year has seen a lot of changes in the mission of the U.S. military. Among those changes are numerous humanitarian missions. TV5 takes us to Frankfurt's 97th General Hospital, where they are welcoming soldiers back from missions on 3 different continents.
It's a great Army day, isn't it? We're glad to have you all back.
With a rousing wah, Frankfurt's 97th General Hospital welcomed back their medical professionals from humanitarian missions in Croatia, Somalia, and Bishkek, Kyrgyzstan.
Overall, it was a very educational experience. It was a growing experience, and I think it was mutually beneficial, not just for us and the educational experience that it was, but certainly for the soldiers that they're down there and are still down there.
The people were lovely. They were grateful for the generosity of the Americans, for the expertise that we gave them, and the example that our soldiers gave in working fast and unloading these huge warehouses filled with equipment. Conditions sometimes were a little bit rougher than we have here. Many times we did not have heat or hot water in the hotel. There was a great spirit of camaraderie and friendship amongst the Americans. They have a great love for us, great appreciation, and our soldiers have displayed a great example of friendship, love, and professionalism in discharging their functions up there.
The 502nd MASH from Nuremberg has taken over for the 97th General Hospital personnel who were in Croatia, and several soldiers are still finishing up work in the former Soviet Union. The hospital staff remains ready to move out whenever and to wherever they might be needed. Reporting from Frankfurt's 97th General Hospital, this is Doug Rule, TV5 for AFN News.
Evidence of the military's drawdown was seen at RAF Upper Hayford when one of the Air Force's oldest units rolled up its flag and said farewell. Senior Airman Brett Baker has more on the story.
After 75 years of service to the Army and the Air Force, the 79th Fighter Squadron was recently inactivated in a ceremony at RAF Upper Hayford, the United Kingdom. Formed in 1918 as the Aero Service Squadron, the unit has seen action in World War II and Desert Storm. But the unit's real main claim to fame was being part of the military machine that brought victory to NATO in the Cold War. 20th Fighter Wing Commander Colonel Terry Schwalier said the women and men of the 79th are a tribute to the unit's illustrious history.
You have served well and you have served faithfully. You have accomplished the mission. You are noble warriors all.
While inactivating a unit is never a fun task, there is meaning to it, says the 79th's commander, Lieutenant Colonel Mark Hyatt.
Well, to me, it's a great honor to be the last squadron commander, and hopefully this will be the last of the 79th, and we can have peace and we won't need the 79th back again.
Americans and English alike turned out to say goodbye to the Tigers of the 79th, and as usual, the 79th left them cheering.
No problem.
You safe aircrew members must take the Aerospace Physiology Refresher course every 3 years. The length of the course depends on what type of aircraft the crew member flies with.
We take the aircrew to altitude, simulating flying at altitudes of 25,000 feet, take their oxygen mask away from them, and show them how their body reacts at altitude with the lack of oxygen.
I noticed that the colors went away. My vision kind of decreased a little bit. Everything tended to blend together. And as soon as you came back on oxygen, it seemed like every breath that you took, everything came back, and it was back together in about 3 or 4 seconds.
Primary aircrew members take a 3-day course which includes classroom instruction and the high-altitude chamber. The chamber itself is a simple operation. It's just a big box with a vacuum hooked up to it. But the chamber and the refresher course remind pilots and aircrew members of the dangers of oxygen deficiency. Staff Sergeant Rick Sarche, Air Force News, RAF Alconbury.